Hey, what's up? I'm the Ragged Raccoon, and this is Tier Shift, the series where I take a low-tier Pokemon and bring it up a few tiers. We're using the Wailord team from the last episode, and we're just going to get right into a battle. We look at the other team, we see a Talonflame, a Feraligatr, a Weavile, an Excadrill, a Serperior, and a Latios. So we're going to lead off with our Scizor here, as he leads with the Talonflame. So we see Talonflame, we're just going to switch right into our Hippowdon here, because I can take anything that this Talonflame wants to throw at us. He might just go for a U-turn, but just in case, we don't want to risk the Flare Blitz. And Hippowdon has such a good physical, so he goes for the U-turn. So if we really wanted to, we could have knocked off anything that wanted to come in. So he brings in the Weavile here. We're going to go for the Stealth Rock. He's probably going to go for the Ice Shard or a knockoff. He goes for the low kick, that's 23%. Going for a stab move probably would have been optimal for him. And I'm just going to go for an Earthquake now. So he goes for the Icicle Crash, that's at 45%. I get the Earthquake off, it does a lot. So, we're both at low health. I'm going to go for the Stone Edge here. He takes me out though. So now I'm going to switch into Wailord. And I'm going to go for a Water Spout. A Scarf Water Spout. He goes for the low kick, he outspeeds me for the Scarf. So Water Spout does take out the Weavile. It doesn't do anything though. He switches in to a Serperior. I'm going to bring in the Scizor on this. He goes for the Leaf Storm. He gets a boost. And I'm just going to go for a U-turn here. He might have Hidden Power Fire, which is quite scary. But let's hope he isn't. He's running Hidden Power Rock or something. We could always hope that. He actually withdraws, goes into Excadrill. I go for the U-turn. He takes a good amount from that. I'm going to go into Wailord again. Because if he's not Scarfed Excadrill, I will outspeed him, and I'll go for the Scald here. So, I go for the Scald, so his rocks are they're here to stay, unless his Latios is running Defog, which is always a possibility. And it looks like it might be. I'm just going to let Wailord go down here, though. So he's actually Mega Latios. So let's see what happens here. He goes for the Psychic, that takes me out. I'm going to go into the Gardevoir. My Mega Gardevoir, I gain the Levitate. Doesn't matter because I'm going to Mega Evolve, which gives me Pixelate. Go for a Stab Hyper Voice, which will do a lot to anything that wants to come in. So he brings in the Feraligatr, I Mega Evolve. I go for the Hyper Voice, and it OHKOs that Feraligatr. So, that's a lot of damage from us. Let's see what he wants to bring in. Nothing really wants to... Talonflame can easily handle this Gardevoir, but when he brings it in, it also takes that 50% from Stealth Rocks. And we're going to go into the Raikou here. So he goes for the Brave Bird. We resist that so we don't go down to it. And we're just going to go for the Thunderbolt. He essentially has to stay in. He can't switch in anymore. I go for the Thunderbolt on the Serperior. Goes down a little bit. And I'm just going for Hidden Power Ice. So Hidden Power Ice takes out the Serperior. And he can't. His Talonflame's useless. It can't do anything. So it's really just us versus this Latios. And we're just going to Hidden Power Ice this. He could go for Draco Meteor or something. Because he does take, he lives that. He takes that really well, actually. But I will outspeed, and this will pick up the knockout. And his Talonflame will die to Stealth Rocks upon re-entry. So yeah, that's the end of our first battle. We're going to do 2 more for this episode, and I'll see you guys then. Alright, we're back in the next battle. We look at the other team, we see a Garchomp, a Starmie, a Mamoswine, a Charizard, a Rotom Cut, and a Scizor. So we're going to lead off with the Wailord here, as he starts off with his Rotom. So that's bad for us. We have nothing that wants to deal with this, so we're just going to go for an Ice Beam, just to get off some damage. Because it's honestly such a big threat. Because it could Will-O-Wisp a lot of things. And it's definitely not a weak Pokemon. So he brings in the Starmie. I'm going for Ice Beam. I'm going to go down here. He does outspeed me even when I'm Scarfed, I believe. So yep, he outspeeds. He goes for that. He reveals that he's Life Orbed. I'm going to go into the Scizor here and just go for a U-turn on anything that he wants to bring in. He could go for a Reflect type. I don't think he will. So he switches out. He goes into his Garchomp, takes off in the U-turn. I take Rough Skin and Rocky Helmet damage, which means he's not Scarfed, so I could bring in the Raikou here and take him out with a Hidden Power Ice. So I go for the Hidden Power Ice, and we're going to see if he withdraws or not. So he withdraws. He goes into his Rotom. It does not take out the Rotom. It brings it down to, so it only has a little bit. I'm going to go for the Substitute here. See what he wants to do. He goes for the Will-O-Wisp. So that's good for us. I'm going to start going for Calm Minds. We know we outspeed. He can hit us with a Leaf Storm, and that will just make it easier. It'll make it easier for us to get up a Substitute. He actually misses the Leaf Storm, so we're just going to keep getting Calm Minds. Behind the sub, we're pretty well protected. There's nothing that could go through Substitute. So our Substitute fades here. His special attack drops. So I'm just going for another Substitute because he shouldn't be able to break this one. He goes for the Volt Switch. I resist that. So he could switch into whatever he wants now, though. But I'm also at +2 special defense and +2 special attack. So whatever he brings in will end up taking a lot of damage from our Raikou. So he brings in the Scizor, and I'm just going to go straight up for Thunderbolt here. So Thunderbolt connects. He takes a 75%. He goes for the Bug Bite. He reveals that he's Leftovers. And I'm just going to go for another Thunderbolt. So his Scizor is now out. His Scizor goes right down. Unless his Mamoswine is Scarfed, which it could be Sash, it could be Scarf. It kind of scares me a little bit. I'm going to bring in Hippowdon just to see, and try to get up some Stealth Rocks while we're at it. So I'm going to go for the Stealth Rock here. If he switches moves to an Ice move, it tells him. So I believe he's Scarfed, judging by how he swapped that out. So I get the Stealth Rocks, and I'm just going to go for... I'm going to go for Earthquake here. He gets his Stealth Rocks up. I go for Earthquake. He doesn't take that much from it. But I'm just going to keep going for Earthquakes. So he actually phases us with a Dragon Tail, and our Gardevoir comes out, which traces the Rough Skin. We're going to Mega Evolve and go right for Hyper Voice. So we actually outsped him with that. It's a little late, but if we knew that earlier, that would have been nice. We know he was running defensive, so that's here comes the Starmie. We're just gonna go for another Hyper Voice because he actually just goes for the Rapid Spin. So this Starmie's gonna go down here. Yeah, it goes right down. So he has his Rotom, his Charizard, and his Mamoswine. I think he'll bring in the he actually brings in the Charizard. I don't know what kind of Charizard this is. I'm gonna I'm gonna go for the Psyshock, just in case. So, just in case X, I went for the Psyshock. So, we don't take that Fire Blast well at all. We go down to it. But I'm gonna bring in the Raikou here. As long as we keep our Scizor alive, we're good, because I could handle the Mamoswine. So I'm gonna go for a Thunderbolt. So, his Charizard goes down. He has the Rotom left, and he has the Mamoswine left. So he brings in the Mamoswine. I'm going to let Raikou go down here. So he looks like he's sashed. So, Raikou goes down. We're going to bring in the Scizor. We're just going to go straight for Bullet Punch, because Bullet Punch will take this out. So Bullet Punch takes out the Mamoswine. He has his Rotom Cut left. So he forfeits. We win because he couldn't possibly beat the Scizor. So that's our third game, and we'll see you all in the next one. Alright, we're back with our third and final battle with this team. We see a Heatran, a Sylveon, a Lopunny, a Landorus, a Scizor, and a Rotom Wash. So we're going to lead off with our Wailord here. Because he'll probably want to... So he starts with the Heatran. I'm going to go for a Scarfed Water Spout here. Because he's probably going to try to set up a Stealth Rock or something. So he actually withdraws. He goes into the Sylveon, who takes that Water Spout really well. And I'm going to go into Scizor here. So he goes for the Wish. I'm just going to Bullet Punch whatever comes. Actually, I'm going to go for the U-turn, because I think the Heatran's probably going to come in. So yeah, the Heatran comes in. I go for the U-turn. He's going to regain all of that health, but I'm going to go into Wailord again. So he sees Wailord. He knows I'm going to probably go for a Water Spout. And I'm actually going to double out into Scizor again, anticipating the Sylveon to come right back. And let's see what he does here. So my Scizor comes out. He does withdraw. He goes into the Rotom Wash, though, which I wasn't expecting. And so I'm going to the Kyurem Black. So he's probably going to Will-O-Wisp me. That's okay, because I'm just here for the Earth Power. Kyurem can still do a good amount of damage to anything with its 2 special attacks I have on it. So we go for the Earth Power here. We don't take out the Rotom Wash. We do a lot of damage, though, which is fine. He switches. He's going to the Landorus. So if he's not Scarfed, then this Ice Beam will kill it. He actually goes for the U-turn, so whatever comes in is about to take an Ice Beam to the face. It's probably going to be the Heatran. It's actually the Rotom Wash. So that gets a crit and takes out the Rotom. So we got rid of a really big threat. He can bring whatever he wants. Kyurem's going to go down to anything at this point. I'm just going to go for an Ice Beam on the Sylveon. This 31%, he's probably going to go for a Wish. Gain all his... He actually goes for the Hyper Voice. So I'm going to bring in Scizor here. And I'm going to go for straight up Bullet Punch. Even though the Heatran's very obvious switch in. So he brings in the Heatran. I went for the Bullet Punch just in case he figured I'd go for a U-turn or something. And now I'm going to switch into the Hippowdon. So he gets up his rocks. I'm just going to go for... I'm going to go for my rocks here. He switches, goes into the Landorus. Gets off an Intimidate. And I'm going to switch into Wailord here, actually. Because I don't know if he wants to U-turn or he just goes for the Earthquake. He's probably Scarfed. So he's definitely Scarfed. We know that for a fact now. I'm going to bring in... I don't think he wants to deal with Landorus. I'm going to go into the Scizor. And just go for a knockoff here. So he brings in the Heatran. We're going to take a knockoff. It doesn't appreciate that at all. And he will outspeed me, so I'm going to Hippowdon again. So he actually goes for the Toxic. Probably predicted the Hippowdon to come out. And I'm gonna go for a Stone Edge here, actually. In case he brings in the Landorus, I want to get some damage off on it. So he actually brings in the Scizor. And takes about 25% from that. I'm just gonna go for an Earthquake here. So he's roosting up. I'm going for Earthquakes. He does outspeed. So I'm fighting an uphill battle. So he's going to keep roosting away. I don't know anything that could come in on this and really do anything. I'm going to Raikou. Just to see what I can do. So he goes for the Swords Dance. He's setting up. And I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt. He goes for the Bullet Punch. I take the Bullet Punch. I don't take it well, but I take it. I do a good amount with Thunderbolt. I do get the Paralysis. And we'll see if that has anything. So I'm just going for a Hidden Power Ice here. So he takes me out. He goes down to Life Orb damage. And I'm going to go into Gardevoir. He brings out the Lopunny. The issue here is that Gardevoir has very low physical defense. But the best thing I could do is Mega Evolve and hope for the best. I don't really have a way to deal with this. I'm going to Hippowdon here. He goes for the return. It does a lot of damage. We take toxic damage. We're going for the Earthquake. So he goes for the return, takes out Hippowdon. Really unfortunate. I'm going to bring in the Scizor. Go for the Superpower. Just to see what we can do. So he goes for the High Jump Kick. Narrowly misses taking us out. We take out his Lopunny. But here's where Scizor is going to go down. Because Scizor can't switch anymore. So Landorus will 100% take him out. And I'm just going to go for that. So I go into the Gardevoir. And I'm just going to go for the Hyper Voice. And he takes me out, and we lose our final battle with his team. I'll see all of you guys in the next Tier Shift episode. If you have any recommendations for Pokemon to bring, leave it in the comment sections below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.